Hi, Summer.
Hi, how are
I'm good.
you?
Thank you. How you
Yeah,
doing?
good. So,
Amazing.
yeah, it's good to have you on board. Um, Maybe we just give some time for people to like pop in. I can see we've got um Debama. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrongly, but yeah, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you dedicating your time to this at this time of the day. So yeah, um. While we just wait for people to join in, fingers crossed we get people popping in shortly. How's your day been?
It's been great. It's sunny. I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. So it's a great day so far. So hopefully it continues on that trajectory of the day.
Great. Just speaking of sunny, it can be really deceiving at times, but
Yeah.
hopefully it's really sunny and not windy. Uh,
It's sunny
but yeah,
and you step out and it's cold and you're regretting the sun.
exactly. That's the thing. That's the thing. But yeah, it is what it
It is
is.
what
Um,
it is.
but regardless,
But is it where you are today though?
sorry.
Is this sunny where you are?
Yeah, it is, but I'm skeptical about going outside because yeah, to be I really want to just go out and not wearing, the whole cardigan and all of
Mm-hmm,
those stuff. But
mm-hmm.
I'll see how it is. Maybe after the call, I'll step out.
Exactly. You could try. It could be very warm. You could get lucky today.
Hopefully, great.
Amazing.
Uh, but yeah, let's see who's coming in again. Hopefully people will join in. I know Instagram live is not too much of people thing, but the good thing is that this is being recorded. So when we're done with this session, we can easily like upload on here, upload on our YouTube channel for anyone who wants to like watch on demand, like going back to watch this
Yeah.
session and just pick one or two things from it
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, just based on the fact that we're really conscious of time, once again, I really want to thank you for making a time for this. I know you're a very busy person. Thank you for making this work because it's been a long time coming, to be honest, to make this work. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Great. Uh, so we'll just kickstart basically. So our questions for today are actually sectionalized, where we are going to be looking into your personal background from, your immigration journey story to your career
Hmm.
journey as well, and to mentorship, social impact, and advocacy, because I know you're very big on social impact and mentorship and mentoring people. And then we're just going to pick your brain in terms of like advice for immigrants who are, currently on their journey and probably in line with what you're doing at the moment. And so we just would appreciate your insight in those aspects. And maybe at the end of the day, wrap it up with one or two jokes just to make it lively. um, yeah, so quickly, I'm going to start off, which is asking who Hawa is. So just tell us something about you. Who is Hawa?
Hawa is her mother's daughter and her father's favorite. I'm just a normal person. I am an immigrant in the UK. I'm a friend. I am a digital expert, if I dare say so myself. I've been in the industry now for over 15 years. I am a United Nations UK Women Delegate. I am one of the directors in Kugali. I also am an owner and a co-founder on my own business called freelancers.co. What else again? What else would you like to know? I love animation, pasta, and dogs. So yes, that's
For
kind of
real?
the story of who Hawaii is. Yeah,
You love
yeah.
dogs? Whoa.
I have a lot of dogs in Nigeria.
Okay. I know the way we have dogs in Nigeria is different from the way we have dogs here.
Trust me, my
Because,
dogs are treated the same way.
okay, because I know my dogs back then were more like the bodyguards of the compound, right? But yeah, no, it's really good to know. I know that was like a pretty brief one, but as we jump into the question, we believe it's gonna like
Mhm.
unravel other part of you in detail that you just gave a top level overview or brief for in terms of your
Yeah.
personality. Uh, So thank you very much for sharing, and it's good to know you love dogs. I just get to know that now, and I'm pasta as well. So maybe someday we can we can go have pasta for lunch. But
Oh my.
yeah, so great. So my next question is basically going to be, so tell us about your immigration journey. Where did this whole thing started from? Where did
Mhm.
this whole idea, concept of wanting to immigrate to a different country to build, to advocate, to lead on things? Where did this whole journey begin from? So let's start from there.
I think that's a good question, especially because with the whole trend of
Yeah.
Jackpot, I'm actually even pre-Jackpot and pre-Jackpot in a way, especially because I think I just got to a point after it was during
Yeah.
COVID that I kind of decided I wanted to leave, especially because I had gotten to what I deemed as the peak of my career in Nigeria. I was doing well. I used to work at an organization and I was one of the youngest managers there. So for me, it just felt like from here, what next? Do I move to another managerial role? Do I want to continue with the whole Nigerian politics? Or do I want something more? I had worked with multinationals while I was in Nigeria. So I just thought it was high time to, try and see how to make a name on a global scale rather than restricting my talents to Nigeria. So that's one of the reasons why. And I think, especially with the whole, depression from COVID period, yeah, that's why I wanted it. I was like, yeah, I just need to do this. And that's why, I decided to come as a student. I came for my master's degree to the University of Salford. I studied digital video production and marketing. And from there, even before I was done, I got a job at Kugali. So,
Mm.
okay, perhaps this is a nod from the universe that I am on the right track
Yeah.
towards achieving to achieve. And I just decided to stay, and the rest to say is history.
Mm. That's I think this is the second interview I'm having where COVID has been the inspiration for some things. Because I think I had a guest the last time and she mentioned about she wanted to pivot
Yeah,
her career, but
yeah,
the certainty wasn't there, but the skepticism was there as well. But the whole turning point was during the COVID period where she had time to really reflect and say, okay, I think I want to do this. So it's also good to know that COVID in a way has been advantageous. has been,
I,
has been
I think
advantageous.
I think COVID was just a way to wake up a lot of people.
Yeah,
Especially, there's nothing as humbling as like a near-death experience with everything going on. I think it just kind of shows you how finite we are as human beings and how anything could just with a snap of a finger anything could go wrong. So it was a wake-up call to a lot of people, and in as much as it was a very dreadful period for
yeah.
people, some people who used that to their advantage are kind of happy with the decision to make that move and just to do something more with our lives.
Great. That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. And just as it's always been, there's always this possibility where your response lead to the next question that
Yeah.
comes in. So when you were responding to my question, you made mention about being at the peak of your career in Nigeria
Yes.
and but then still deciding to like come down to the UK to study your masters and what next happened. And in the process of doing that, you got a job with Kugali, which means
Yeah.
the universe and everything was aligning for your favor. So
Mhm.
now that's gonna throw me off to the next question in terms of okay, the whole career thing. So let's jump into the genesis of that story. So I know you are more of a digital marketer. Um, so where did that whole have you always focused on digital marketing, or is that like your primary day to day, or something else that led to you getting into that and building a reputable brand for yourself?
Good question. My day ones back from US will actually know how I started, especially because it was when Facebook was just starting. I used to be one of all those keypad warriors back in the days,
Okay.
like stories and poke on topics that a lot of people shy away from just to get reactions from people.
Yeah.
And you get like a lot of comments, oh, Hawa, like even when I like don't post in a week or so. People are like, wait, where's Hawa? This is very unusual. Where's Hawa? And then from there, the power of storytelling kind of took over and made me fall in love.
Yeah.
I started as just posting on Facebook, and then I think it was after uni, before my NYSC, I got a job with a company. It was like a media agency back then, and I was employed to actually start doing social media. And from there, I wanted more because I felt like social media, there has to be more to life
Mhm.
than live hashtags and the rest. So one day, one Christmas, I decided to go and do what they did not send me. I went on the company's website because that creative flair
Yeah.
wanted to see what I could do. So I wanted the website to snow, like snow to fall on the website. And I went to the back end to go and do one plugin. Almost after I pressed something, come January, the snow did not leave the website. It was
Okay.
mid January. My boss was like, Hawa, you've broken the website, you will fix it. So that's how I think from there I had to start researching how does WordPress work? How do they this so from there I noticed I could fix the issue.
Yeah.
And that kind of put me on track where I was like, if I can do this and I can do anything else. And then
Mhm.
when my boss is sleeping, I'll go and try and that thing on the back end of the website, look for a different way to deactivate it.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of started the job for me. And then it got to a point where, trust builds over time. And then my boss was like, okay, Hawa, remember that thing I did in December? It was cool. Oh, yeah, go back and do another thing like that. And that's how from there I could add that to my, resume. I learned more about it. I went on YouTube, I studied, and eventually it became a job. From there, I applied to another job and another and another. And I just kept on expanding
Yeah.
social media to websites to mobile to SEO, to growth marketing to product marketing within tech. And it just kind of took a life of its own. And here we are today.
Bro, it's actually always good to hear the genesis. I always like I always appreciate when people share the genesis of their story.
Yeah.
And you just I was just wondering how it was gonna be if you were able to fix that at the end of the day without
I
putting
think by
that
now I'll switch back to estate management and be there running after property led.
but, but yeah, but at the end of the day, I think that that challenge led to you discovering
Yeah.
something else. You just being able to find the solution to that problem and actually add to your expertise in terms of this is something I can do if paraventure it pops up
Yeah.
another time.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a very great genesis, and from there to now you've done remarkably well for yourself, and that is just going to take me to your contribution in terms of Iwaju basically. So your journey as like an industry leader in the digital space has played like an integral role in the nomination of like the Disney Disney. Why are you saying Disney?
Then, then,
It's the Nigerian tongue. The, the Disney Iwaju. So it was actually nominated for like it got 3 Emmy Awards
yeah.
nomination, which is fantastic, which is remarkable. So I want us to, I want you to basically take us through that journey. How did that happen?
Hmm. Great question. Okay, so like I said, I joined the Kugali team when I actually relocated to the UK.
Yeah,
I got Kugali 2 weeks into the UK, if I'm actually being honest. Yes.
that's a superstar thing.
I know. But it wasn't just
Yeah,
magic. I had been applying for jobs even before I jackpot because I didn't know anybody in the
yeah,
UK. You can't just come here without any plan. Who would I run to? Do you understand? So I
yeah.
started applying, taking some interviews back in Nigeria. So when I got to the UK, I think I was still trying to train someone in my outgoing job to take on my role when I started Kugali as well too. So yeah. And then when I got on board, I actually joined as the head PR because I already had experience from there.
Yeah.
And then when I joined, with Disney, it was very hush hush. Nobody was allowed to talk about anything for a long time. And then fast forward to 2022, it was time for the launch in February, not 2022, sorry, last year, 2024. And because the project had been ongoing for years, animation takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, we were able to launch last year, February 2024. And with that, it meant, especially because Iwaju was launching on Disney, and Disney has platforms in a lot of countries and in a lot of continents. So part of the things that my role covered was working closely with the Disney team as well, because it's a partnership between both companies. So working and leading from the Kugali side in terms of, marketing, communications, and PR.
Yeah.
And, that's basically entailed working with influencers, having global launches in LA, that's in America, in
Yeah.
London, in the UK, and in Lagos, Nigeria, which is where the story is basically around. We want to tell, using Afrofuturism to tell the story of a young Nigerian princess called Tola, especially because it meant a lot seeing a princess that looks like
Yeah.
me, not one with red hair or the other one that looks like fish singing, Ariel. And then now you have one that actually looks
Hmm.
like you in a city you grew up in, using slangs that you
Exactly.
understand. You're seeing
Yeah.
us selling gala in the air. Do you
Hmm.
understand? It just made all of the whole childhood dreams and all of your future accomplishment all come together. It's like a love story
Yeah.
to child in yourself. And I think with everything, it made it all worth it, especially because now you have your name on a Disney movie.
Yeah.
It's forever enshrined there. So it will probably outlive me as well. And my kids and my kids' kids and all the other women coming after me can actually look to it
Yeah.
and be proud that our great 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 grandnana Hawa is on a Disney movie. So from there I went on, because working with Kugali means working with different opportunities.
Hmm.
We've had to collaborate as well to with Snapchat to using augmented reality to tell stories of Black sports people here in the UK. So that as well too was an incredible campaign. So with all of this, it's been, in fact, one of the peak of my career. I've been with Kugali now for about 4 years. And what else? Yeah, and now I'm one of 5 directors in Kugali, so I've been able to work my way to the top. And
I definitely like that. No, I definitely. I was waiting for you to say that because it's a remarkable accomplishment, and I think it's safe to say we look up to you now. So,
Samuel,
so I think another thing there is
yes.
another thing mention that you now have your name in the Disney, should I say, Can you hear me right
Yeah,
now? Can you hear me, Claire?
yes. Well,
Yeah,
I can
I
hear
think that the internet is doing what it knows how to
you.
do best. So, but yeah, I was just saying, you did mention about something. You did mention your name being like a, when it comes to like Disney, your name being like for there forever based on the work you've done in Iwashi, and just saying that it's been nominated for 3 Emmy Award. And I was coming to say, I think that's a legacy thing because it's gonna like, you know, outlive you basically. The name is gonna be there like forever and ever. When someone Google Hawa, it's gonna pop up that
Yeah.
this is your country, which is actually fantastic. So
Yeah.
well done on that. Massive well done on that. And when I watched Iwaju, I was really blown away looking at a very futuristic Nigeria. Um, Based on the whole flying cars and everything in terms of technology modification and just you know I, I was really amazed and seeing, like you said, the slangs that's been infused into the whole thing and not making it really away from us but something that's it's what we do, like our day to day,
Mhm.
just reflecting Nigeria as a whole but
Mhm.
using the futuristic part of it.
Yeah.
So it was really great to actually watch as well,
Same.
just from a viewer feedback point of view.
Well, thank you. I will let the animators know. So shout out to the team and kudos to the team as well too. I mean, it was a lot of work that went into it. I can't even begin to, talk about that because I don't even have a full grasp of everything. But shout out to the team, the animators, Hamid, Ziki, Tolu. and every other person behind our amazing project named The Watcher. So yes, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it and let us know what you think.
Yeah, please definitely go watch it. If you're not on here live with us, if
Yeah.
you're getting to watch this later on, definitely see Waju, and trust me, you're really going to be proud of what they've done. It's really amazing to see that it's like made in Nigeria and it reflects us and the futuristic part of us.
Yeah.
I really love it. So well done. So
Thank you.
that's quickly going to take me to my next question. Just seeing the fact that you earlier stated that you were at the peak of your career in Nigeria before moving to the UK, and now you're in the UK. You are one of 5, executive members in Kugali Media. So my next question is going to be: would you say getting nominated for a Waju has been like the height of your career, or there's so much that has happened, and there's so much in terms of expectations to come as well?
I mean, that's a very good and interesting question, especially because I mean, Iwaju, yes, definitely it adds extra feathers to my hat, but also with other things too. I think one of my greatest accomplishments is the act of giving back, which I've also grown to get grown fond of since coming to the UK. Back in Nigeria, I think with the way the schedules are in Nigeria, there's barely any time to do anything. It's just go to work, come back home, drive in traffic, repeat. But we're here, it's easier for you to have like moments of reflection to actually see how to help. So I took up things like volunteering with a lot of organizations. I took up things like mentoring as well. And I think I mean, Iwaju is way up there as well too. And definitely Emmy nominations is not easy. It's not a walk in the park. So definitely adds to my credence and everything. But I'd say one of the key things as well too is mentoring, especially because I've mentored people around 15 countries in the world, and that's over a dozen of people making up different ethnicities, different tribes, different races, different industries, different sectors. And it's just incredible to see how humbling it
Yeah.
is trying to impact knowledge, and you're also being impacted too as well too. So I'd say with the whole jackpot process and with the whole being an immigrant here, I'd say definitely Iwaju and the Emmy nominations, and also personally on the private side as well. So the mentoring side is definitely way up there as well too, because it's not gone unnoticed. So I definitely say both of them and different other things to have definitely added to being at the top of everything going on with me since I
Yeah.
came here.
Perfect. That's really good to hear and great to know. Basically, so you just mentioning the mentorship, and it's something we're definitely going to touch on again because I've got, like I've got some questions in respect to that, and it's very good to know that you're taking our time to give back, because at the end of the day, it's just in a way reflect what the whole reason why the immigrant story has been set up is to actually to understand people's journey, people's story as a pathway for other immigrants to strive. So just understanding what you've done as an individual, it's something someone else can replicate in their journey that can make them, outstanding in their foreign country where they are currently as an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
So pertaining to how this session can also be more, useful for our viewers and immigrants as well. There's the tailored questions that it's going to ask that I'm going to be asking in respect to your journey that can
Mm-hmm.
guide other people going forward as well. But yeah, just moving on. You did mention coming here for a master's program, and that was like part of your immigration journey. So tailored to that specifically, during your program, I understand that you collaborated with Fair Share, which is actually addressing hunger crisis. You actually utilized storytelling and to raise awareness, and that was presented to the UK Prime Minister at that time. So this is remarkable. Present based on the fact that it's been presented to the Prime Minister at that time. I would just want to understand how did this opportunity come about, and did this come in handy, and how did you envisage this opportunity to come, and how did you position yourself for it as well?
Great question. So we Fair Share, our paths first of all crossed during my master's
Yeah.
degree. Uh, so what because I mean, with digital video and production, basically what that meant is we have two aspects to the program. So one is marketing, the other one is video production. So you have to find a way, like a nexus, where the both of them meet together. And that's where, like, working with real life brands while at Salford came in handy, especially because they brought a couple of briefs to us and they threw it out there to everybody and come up with ideas to help. This is a charity, they need people to help them, yada, yada, yada. So, long story short, I took up volunteering with them. I wanted to see what it was about, especially because you hear a lot of stories about charities, and when you get there, you find out that the reality is nothing close to what was advertised, and you end up disappointed. But when I got there, I mean, it was a different experience, especially because there were a lot of people there to volunteering, but not as many as required. So for those who don't know FairShare, it's a non-profit that has been in existence for about 30 years. And for the last 30 years, they've taken up the mantle of actually helping, families that don't have enough to feed, or families that are just in a state of either food crisis or financial crisis. So they get people like me or you to, just come there. They have different branches around the UK. So the one I started with was the Manchester branch. So you go there, they take food that are almost like near expiration date food,
Yeah.
and that they take it from the likes of Tesco, from the likes of Asda, Aldi, all the big superstores around, and they use that food instead of it going to waste and then trashed. They actually take the food and then they take it to actually distribute to families. So instead of it going to waste, somebody else can actually appreciate and use that to stay
Yeah.
alive. So part of what I did was, going there and actually helping to decide. So I volunteered on the side of just helping to repackage the food. I volunteered on the side of actually going on site to see the families come there to pick the food.
Yeah.
I've there with the drivers. But I think the most important aspect was using video storytelling to tell their stories, especially because I wanted a part where it could be appealing. I didn't want to come from a wasteful part and say, "Oh, all this food is going to waste. Oh, no, it's bad. Don't eat it." I wanted to use the power of storytelling. So myself and a couple of my friends from uni, then we all came together to create a 1 minute video I actually had to cook because I wanted to I wanted to show the process from production to delivery and how
Yeah.
impact it would have. So taking a nod to every 1 minute of your time could be saving at least 1,000 family. Do you understand? And that into reality and numbers where it's beyond food wastage, it's beyond some random fictitious family. It actually shows the impact your time will be having to help them, which they really, really loved. And that kind of tied into them now taking that campaign further and then doing like a memo to the MP. And then taking it down to 10 Downing Street. We accompanied them to document the event of taking pictures. It went out in press releases, it went out on media. So it turned out to be an incredible campaign for them. It got volunteers in. And that just began a new trajectory in my career because I was like, look, I really enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed the impact. It was free, but the impact of it, knowing that at least because I met some of the families as well too, so I could put a face to all of the volunteering and the hours. And from that's where even freelancers.co launched, and then we started supporting other charities and non-profits across the UK. And the rest to say is history. We've gone on to document people like His Majesty the King of England. We've do more events at the House of Commons. That's like the Aso Rock of Nigeria as well too. We've also, the Prime Minister on a 10 Downing Street. We've also documented people like the Mayor of London. So knowing that we could actually use storytelling to bring all these politics and, the power of impact together has been an incredible journey so far.
I think this is the point where I have to just
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I think during the course of my search, I understand that this is like contributing to the delivery of an equivalent of 100 million meals to frontline charity, which is what else can one do again? It's more like we've done everything. But yeah, that's incredible to see
Thank
that
you.
this was presented to the UK Prime Minister, and you've gone on to even do other campaigns. It makes me believe in the positive side of immigrating. In as much as it can be really challenging, but in spite of that challenge, there's always light at the end of the
Definitely.
tunnel, of which this story you're sharing with us is actually
Hmm.
demonstrating. So, thank you so much, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
I know it's actually, in respect to time, it's actually quite short for you to go in depth in terms of all what you've done. But I appreciate the fact that taking our time to briefly just give us a summary in
Thank
respect to how they're responding to the question. So, but yeah, thank you so much, and well done to yourself.
you.
Just popping down to the next question, career wise, is I understand that currently you have multiple recognition. I think when I was reading through your bio, I think we're talking earlier, and I was like, "Hey, whoa, this." So yeah, I understand that you've got like multiple recognition awarded, all, but what was the most defining moment in your journey that has made you feel like I belong here? Those moments you'd be like, I'm the man.
Ah,
Yeah.
well,
Sure. Yeah.
as everybody is, the life of an immigrant is not that smooth. Look, yes, now, I mean, from this side, you can see the wins, you can see the achievements, the
Yeah.
awards, but there have also been the downsides, though. Don't saw all that the glitters as gold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been the really, really daunting aspect of it as well. Life of an immigrant is hard, especially because there are things beyond yourself. There's a macroeconomic side of things where when elephants fight, it's we the ants that, suffer for it. And then there are some times where you just cry. There are some times where you're like, oh, more, what have I done? Why did I come here? God, I for just in Nigeria. There are always times like that. So I just it's important to actually like make mention of those things so that somebody watching it is not be like, oh, once I just jackpot, you just give me an award, you just say, I welcome, you give me Oscar, stuff like that. It is not like that at all. But I mean, like you said, there have definitely been some peaks in my career.
Yeah.
I think one of my proudest moments so far was last year, November. My mom actually came for Omugo, for my sister's Omugo, and coincidentally, it just happened like fate. I received an email email. So I received an email from my university. They had invited me for an award. They wanted to recognize me as a rising star. I didn't expect it. At the point, I was like, what's happening here?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
And eventually, I got to attend with my mom and my sister. I made it all worth it. Do you understand? Having to
Yeah.
share such an incredible and a delicate moment with my mom, having to recognize my mom there as well, too, having my sister with me. I think for someone who came here by herself and who had a lot of doubts and questions, concerns, it just made everything all worth it. It was like a full circle moment for me, especially because I mean my mom was smiling from ear to ear. She was like, that's my daughter.
Of
I
course.
Nigerian mothers
I'm the
now, they
mom.
can. That's
Yeah.
the doctor. In fact, when my mom was just with one professor beside her, the man was asking, "Oh, you must be proud of your daughter." Yeah, my mother was like, "Yes, I'm very, very proud of her." So I think that just made everything. I think out of all of the awards and all of the accomplishments,
Mhm.
all of everything, I think that's just the most important and the most, I'll say the best moment for me because even I think that was on Thursday. I was invited back again to Salford as a keynote speaker
Mhm.
to speak to students at the big pitch competition and share my journey, share my story, my experience, and my presentation was actually about my mother. Do you understand? Just to show you how
Oh,
significant that moment was. I got her baby picture. I put it on the big screen. I was like, I'm going to show off mom, see, because God damn it.
like why not?
You understand? And then
Yeah.
a lot of people came to like, oh my God, really enjoyed the story because I had to tie that as well to mom's hustle, dad's contribution and
Yeah.
everything. Just trying to tell the story that nobody exists in isolation or that you see me today doesn't mean I just appeared here one
Mhm.
day. They're actually people that imbibed this culture in me, and that's why I'm here today. And I owe it all to them and to God.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to tell that story. And I think with everything, all the downs, all the lows, all the highs, I think everything, it just goes back to my family. And I'm just really grateful. And, yeah, that's my greatest accomplishment from everything.
Great. It's good to you just speaking about your mom being around and that award, that image coming in on a very timely basis made me smile because I don't think she'll be ever proud. I
See.
think that so there's this video trending on TikTok when the people are raising their shoulder.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you'd be like,
Yeah.
um,
That moment.
you've seen it, yeah? So,
Yeah.
so I think that's gonna be the moment when they'll ask me why you. I'm raising my shoulder because my daughter is just really making me proud. So,
See,
yeah.
see,
So,
mom was
it's
gliding on the air. She was going to like, yes, I'm one.
exactly 100%. And seeing the fact that you've been invited again as a keynote
Yeah,
speaker
yeah,
and you doing your presentation was, primarily centered on your mom in terms of your storytelling journey.
yeah.
I think that's really fantastic as well. And seeing someone who's also a professional when it comes to storytelling, I definitely believe you nailed it and you killed it definitely. So well done to yourself. And yeah, well done to mommy as well. Uh, Great.
And that because my dad will kill
Yeah.
me if he should say, "Yo, you don't mention me."
And that is in fact sisters and everyone who's contributed in one way or the other, in one way or the other. So well done to everyone. So as one who's been there, done that, basically you are at the top of your career in Nigeria, coming here, being among the top 5 executive of a striving media company. And my next question will be centered around visibility here. So many immigrants struggle with professional visibility, and I think that it's a very big limitation. Seeing the fact that there's 3 things that always stick with me in the workplace is being vocal, visible, and vulnerable. So, in as much as you want to be vocal, visibility is very important as well. So, you've been there. So, how did you make your mark in the global industry
Yeah,
in terms of just being visible? So people really understand the benefit of visibility. I know it's something immigrants do shy away from
yes,
because it's not really our thing, but
yeah,
it's looking like the day-to-day thing that even when you pick a pin and move it to the other
yeah.
table, you're going to announce it on the team chat. So how do you think visibility played a role in your journey, and how do you think that's going to be important for every immigrant going forward?
That's a very good question, especially because I mean, I get to speak about this almost every week to different
Mm,
people on different platforms in different capacities, and I think it's very important to note the power of relationships, the power of visibility, the power
yeah.
of branding, the power of storytelling. Nobody will tell your story better than you can, and nobody will you know, that's Nigerian from here. And there's this whole Nigerianness to things where a lot of people are very skeptical about tooting their own horns, putting out their accomplishments. Everybody is hiding it. In fact, it goes as far as there's even a parable in my place that loosely translates as the person with the biggest cocoyam in the farm used to hide it with their 2 hands. That's to show you how it is deeply imbibed in us as a people,
Yeah.
where we're not supposed to toot our own horns, we're not supposed to put out our accomplishments because village people. So the
Mm-hmm.
Nigerianness in us really it restricts us, especially because the UK is a different market. You are competing on a global stage right now, and the more you can actually create more awareness for yourself, the more you can create more visibility and trust.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for you to brand yourself, to tell your own stories, to use platforms like LinkedIn. So it's not that you're going to go and post billboard in your village and say, guess who has arrived? Mazi Okeke. I don't think that's the story. I think it's a different thing where you actually put yourself strategically
Mm-hmm.
platforms where you know that people can see you, where you know that you need to, again, reaching out to ask for help is very important.
Mm.
Using things, capitalizing on things like mentorship and allies. So it's not just about money, where everybody now wants to just jump at the only thing on your head is shift, or my to get shift.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to life than that. And if you want to grow and not break your back, I think the most important thing is for you to leverage those platforms, leverage those relationships, reach out to people, grow your network. And that's what I've been able to do. I think one of the key pivots in my career when I got here was actually during my master's, where I had a conversation with one of my lecturers, Miraj Islam,
Mm.
and I when people Google you, what will be the first thing they find?
Mm.
And that was a key thing, because when I googled myself, yes, I saw something that they say, oh, she worked with Kano, she did this, but there were also other Hawas. And that meant there's the possibility of people misconstruing my own Hawa as another Hawa.
Mm-hmm.
Or that means if another Hawa should go and steal on Insta blog, now say, is that Hawa Yakubu? So that meant the power of storytelling, me owning my own story and shaping my own narrative.
Yeah.
When you Google me today, the first page of Google is entirely dedicated to me, my stories, my accomplishments. And that means even when I'm looking for a job or I'm looking to partner or collaborate with people, it shows that I exist. It shows that there are third-party platforms that can actually vouch on my behalf.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that I am someone trustworthy. So you know that, I mean, if Salford can invite her as keynote speaker, if Barclays Bank can name her as one of the top 100 women in the UK, then this person actually makes sense. So
Yeah.
need to put out these accomplishments, even if it's from small projects. So I started small, and gradually I'm still growing.
Yeah.
I'm still this. I mean, there are still some people that when I see their profile, I just need to shut the laptop, like as I was telling you this
Mm-hmm.
morning. So there's still a room for growth and for expansion and just being more. But I'd say to people out there that the first step is Googling yourself, and you need to own your narrative and stop hiding that in quote unquote, like when people will
Yeah.
say, you need to toot your own horns, but strategically as well too. So leverage platforms like ADP lists, reach out to people to mentor you on where to
Yeah.
start. If you need help, please feel free to reach out to me as well too. I'm always happy to have such conversations and then see how to take things further. So yeah, that's it.
You know when you said when people Google you, what they're gonna find.
Yes.
I'm gonna Google myself after this, and I think that's
You
gonna
know,
change some.
you don't see, and you say Matthew KK from that's
Oh my god, that was really powerful in your narrative. I think just like you said, it
yeah,
could be the Nigerian thing
yes.
where we are always we don't want to blow our horn because we tend to believe that people will see it as we being proud,
Yes,
or
no.
yeah, people might actually misread that or just change the narrative in
Mm-hmm.
a way. So I think it's safer to stay quiet.
Yeah.
We think it's safer to stay quiet,
Yes.
but just coming here and seeing that seems to be the opposite because it's not
That's
safe to stay quiet. You're actually limiting yourself staying quiet. So thank you so much, Howard. That's a big takeaway.
thing.
So this is gonna be the last question for the session. Remember, I said our questions are sectionalized, and you've been doing absolutely well in providing responses to this question. So well done to yourself.
Thank you.
I know in a way you've touched on this from the your responses so far in respect to our question, but let me just throw this in here. So what skill have you basically focused on in your industry that has made you stand
Hmm.
out?
I'd say more. So it's kind of finding like a
Mm,
balance between soft skills and technical
mm,
skills.
mm,
Technical skills can only get you so far. Your soft skills are what will land the blow, say to say. Do you understand? So yes, you are skilled, you're talented, but you're not strategically placing yourself, you're not communicating, you're not keeping friends, you're not following up, you don't have a network, you're not all these things play important. See, you see the Salford award that I told you that I didn't know about.
yeah.
Going back to that award, it was at the event I met a chap I had never seen before in my life. His name is Aziz.
Mm,
Aziz had nominated me. I asked him because he came and was like, "Oh hi," because when I saw him, like he was looking fabulous when I came out. I was like, "Oh my god, you look good." So I just passed him. It was just a compliment to a random stranger.
yeah.
And then he came and he was like, "Oh, is that your mom?" I was like, "Yes." Like I just thought, "Oh, networking. We're just talking." And he just whispered, he was like, "I nominated you," and I was like, "Excuse me." Apparently, he had seen a post I had done on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
a while ago. I didn't. You might think people are not watching you. People are paying attention. It was off that Aziz went ahead and nominated me, and that ended up being one of the peak, touch points in my career. So you might think people are not watching. You might think being nice or just saying hi or
Mm,
just a smile or a nod or a compliment that doesn't mean anything. Not knowing it's going if in fact, it might actually somebody might be having a very terrible day, but just that little thing will make them like remember you in months to come and favor you in rooms that you've never even been into, and make them to even sell your story. It's like God placing angels strategically in key points,
Yeah.
and you know that God is working. You're praying for a miracle, but you're hiding in your room, waiting for miracle to come and knock on your door and say, Baba Salah, oh, God sent me. It's possible. You need to be out there. I can remember
Yeah.
when I was in Sam, after class, I will carry myself and go to London just because I want to attend
Yeah.
events. What am I don't know anybody. In fact, nobody invited me. It's off online. I'll go and Google for events. All those things were strategic networking. Some of the people I met at those events have grown up to be friends. They've referred businesses to me to date. Do you understand? So all of what
Yeah.
skills I'll say have contributed into where I am today. I'm not yet at where I need to be, but
Mm-hmm.
putting me on the right track, and hopefully by the grace of God, continue to lead me into rooms that will actually change my life for the best. So I
Mm.
think we really, really need to leverage on that. Don't
Yeah.
Nobody's an island. Nobody exists in isolation. You need to use those soft skills to actually help you to get ahead in your career.
Superb. Like you were just saying this. I was just remembering
Yeah.
something. When you said no, you might think nobody's watching
Yes.
you. So I think all of a sudden I just decided to set up a LinkedIn profile for the Immigrant Story, and I was putting up stuff on there. And funny how one of my director reached out to me in my workplace. I was like, "We're working on this project, and we want to include a social impact in terms of our delivery. Do
Yeah.
you think we can collaborate with the Immigrant Story to do that?"
Can you
I was
see?
like, are you joking,
Can,
or
can you
so we actually have that as one of the options being looked into and waiting for approval for our CSR director. And I was like, whoa.
can you see?
I was like, whoa, okay. So it's actually making sense. So back to that, you might think
I
nobody's
think
watching you, but
nobody's watching.
someone is actually watching you, and you that goes back to the visibility part of things.
Mhm.
You just highlighting that in your journey, that making being visible is very important
Yes.
in your journey as an immigrant.
Yes.
So like you said, no one exists as an island as well. So we're just trying to make this network,
Mm-hmm.
and speak to people, and being visible can be like
Yeah.
a next phase thing in our journey as immigrants. So
Mm.
thank you very much for sharing that as well. I want to clap again, but
Somebody will not whine you. Is that what I did
but yeah,
earlier?
no, I'm not alcohol, but I'm not whining you. So yeah, I think in between our conversation, you've touched on the ADP list, which is the
Yeah.
mentorship thing you're doing into, and how you're very passionate in terms of giving back. And that is going to take me to my next question, where we are going to be focusing on like mentorship, social impact, and advocacy, which is something you love. So I understand that among your numerous achievements, you were recognized among the top 50 global mentors in digital marketing, dedicating over 3,000 minutes to mentoring through the ADP platform you listed, or made mention
Yeah.
of earlier on. So tell us about that motivation, and tell us about how that giving back narrative started. What propelled you to venture into that journey, as an individual and the immigrant in the
Hmm.
UK as well.
I think that's a good question. And I mean, like they would always say, give honor to where honor is due.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's in my upbringing, especially seeing my parents, my father and my mother. They prefer to take the clothes off their back and go and give somebody else and say, take oh, don't worry, don't worry. It's not to carry chest. I won't worry, I'm fine. You just carry the shirt and
Yeah.
go. So with my dad, with my mom, with my upbringing, with the people I was surrounded by, with the people I'm still surrounded by, even to date. It's not even just past, it's even present. So all these key people, they've been able to form that important core aspect of me, which is understanding that there's more to life than just money.
Mm.
And there's more to life than being selfish. You have to be kind. If you are everything else and you're not kind, then you're nothing. So, and I think that's one of the important things. I started doing it small in Nigeria, all these little things here, doing little
Yeah.
things there.
Yeah.
Wanted it in a structured way where it could make sense, especially not just to my immediate environment. I wanted it to have a global impact on a bigger scale. They don't pay me for my time in volunteering. They don't pay me for my time in mentoring. I don't even want to be paid because at the end of the day, it's one of all those things that you look back on and it makes sense. It fits perfectly. It's what you can go to bed at night and you're like, God, I thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're every day you're listening to people's stories and you're like, oh more. So God, I thank you. It's like one of my mentees, he's Ukrainian. He's stuck behind the wall lines. His name is Roman. I've been mentoring him now for close to 3 years. And despite the fact that Roman is stuck with, all of everything going on everywhere, he's
Mm-hmm.
finding little ways to tell his story, to, enable his environment, to impact so he's a game developer. So he's finding ways to also give back as well too. So what's my own excuse for not giving back? It's not as if anybody's bombing outside. It's not as if, do you understand? So there are bigger problems in the world, and if people are finding ways, despite their situations, to do that, what's your excuse not to do that? And I think that's one of the reasons. Even with people, you see people struggling, mental health. Some of my mentees sometimes they just want somebody to just smile with them and tell them, "Look, what's going on," and they tell you how if you see they are bad. Like they will rant from morning to night. Like one of my mentees, she's Iranian. Anytime it's like sometimes it's even like a therapy call. She just wants to talk, vent, and then after everything, she's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I feel so
Yeah.
relieved. Thank you." Little things like that, and a lot of things have gone on to actually nominate me for these awards that we're here talking about today. Do you understand? Sometimes I'll just receive an email saying, "Oh, congratulations, you've been nominated." And how did this one come again? Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the power of making an impact. Somehow the universe balances itself out. Somehow by giving back, you receive with two arms open. So that's just the way God works. And if you're a Christian, if you don't even believe in anything, if you believe in chi, if you believe in your ancestors, some way it's just at the core of everything, it's about kindness,
Yeah.
seeing how you can help the people around you. And I think that's just one of the key reasons why I took to it
Mm.
and why I'm very passionate about doing it as well. So yeah, I'd say that's
That's that's really great in terms of when you said something about when you give, it always finds a way to like come back to you in a way.
yes.
I think it's more of a biblical principle and a universal
Hmm.
principle as well. You just finding our time to give and show kindness in a way
Hmm.
gets in a way comes back to you
Yes.
unexpectedly. And it made me realize the way you responded made me realize that there's actually no excuse based on the fact that you mentioned one of your mentees,
Hmm.
despite being in the middle of a war, still finding time to dedicate to the mental mentorship
That.
scheme while still giving back to his immediate
Hmm.
society. So there's actually no excuse. If someone can be in a very uncomfortable situation and make her time and see the possibility of shining light to his immediate environment,
Hmm.
what your excuse who is in a very comfortable environment with nothing to worry about, with little or nothing to worry
Yeah.
about? So what your excuse? So thank you so much for responding to that question the way you did. Actually, I'm taking so much away from our conversation. I believe everyone who's joined and left so far, and everyone who's going to watch on demand later on, will definitely benefit from this conversation so far. Still very conscious of time. Funny how time flies. It's almost an hour we spent on this already. I think, and it's more like we've been speaking for just 10,
Yeah.
10 minutes. It's funny how time really flies. But I'm just quickly going to jump on the next question. So, in your opinion, how does how do you think, or how does media and storytelling impact immigrant representation on a global scale? I know your storytelling is one thing you do, and you're big in terms of digital marketing and media. So how do you think that can play a role in immigrant representation on a global scale? Can you hear me? Oh, I think the internet is doing its thing. I'll just try to bring back Hawa. whilst we're waiting for Hawa, I believe it's been an interesting conversation so far. Welcome back.
I'm so sorry about that. My phone actually died.
Oh my god. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Uh,
I'm sorry about that.
so
Which
sorry
is
about that.
strange.
So sorry about that.
I think my
I was just
battery was timed for 45 minutes, but it's fine. We could just
no,
jump.
I was just saying to the audience that whilst we're waiting for you to join back, hope the conversation has been like insightful so far. But yeah, hopefully we get a response in between. But yeah, I'm just gonna pick up things from where I
Yeah,
left it before the whole thing happened. So I was just saying, in your opinion, how do you think? Excuse me. How do you think media and storytelling impacts immigrant representation on a global scale, or how do you think that can actually even help increase our representation on a global scale?
I think that's a brilliant question, especially with a lot going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
It's important for these stories to be told. It's important for us to, you know, be represented in the rooms that matter, on the tables of impact, especially with everything going on. To a lot of people, are just numbers.
Mm,
To a lot of people, they just see a collective face or a collective story. People hear immigrants and they think of illegal immigration, which is not the case. People, do you
yeah.
understand? There is this thing I watched Chimamanda talk in the unfortunate aspect of a single story, where to a lot of people they see immigrant and they're that this one's doing, not understanding that the impact that we bring to different societies, the representation that we actually bring on board is important for us to share these stories
Yeah.
where it's not always dark and gloom. There's the key aspect to it. There are important ways that we actually contribute to society.
Yeah.
And by sharing my story, by sharing other people's stories, by having incredible platforms like yours, it's important for all these stories to be told, because it could go as far as inspiring somebody else. It's not just it's one thing to japa, but you have to japa with a plan. It's not wanting for you to fall into, the illusion thinking it's an easy
Hmm.
journey. It's not. So you need to plan. And that's why it's important. That's why I volunteered for this, to actually share my story
Yeah.
and to actually be as candid as possible, stating, oh yes, it's good, but there's also the gloom part of it if you don't plan adequately. So it's very important. The power of storytelling helps. It drives narratives, it shapes opinion, it shapes society, it helps us towards a collective future by which we're being respected,
Hmm.
we're being invited, we're being provided seats on tables that
Yeah.
matter. Because we can't have people who don't know our struggles and who don't understand our journey decide what our future should
Yeah.
be. That should not be how this should be. So it's important to have platforms like yours. So I say kudos once
Thank
more, and thank you
you very
for this
much.
opportunity as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You just saying that made me just recall part of the reason why we're setting this up. It's actually to, in as much as we're collating this story, we're also thinking of how can we propel the stories to go really far, for people to really understand that there's more in the positive side when it comes to immigration. Uh,
Yes.
so that's something we're also looking into, trying to work with brand marketers and see
Mm-hmm.
how that can, like, how we can really push this narrative.
Yes.
So that's really going to be very important as well. So yeah, thank you. So we can even likely come onto yourself, and have a session and just pick your brain on some stuff like that. But yeah, we can pick that up at the back of this conversation. So whilst we're wrapping up, I know it's 2 p.m. already. Whilst we're wrapping up, I just have two questions to go. So this is from the advisory part of things now. So you've been honored as a top 100 women in tech and global mentor. So what is what would you say is the secret to a long-term career success?
Hmm. That's a deep question. I,
You just
I,
looking at what has worked and what hasn't worked for you whilst you were back in Nigeria at the top of your career and coming into the UK as an immigrant and being like, part of the top 5 executive members of Kugali Media. What do you think? Let's take it from there. What do you think has worked for you and what hasn't worked? So maybe that can, you know,
yeah.
help narrow down the question.
I mean, it's still a very brilliant question. Do you understand? I think I'd say one of the things is saying yes to scary opportunities. The things that scare you the most are most likely the things that would impact your life in a positive way. I'm not going to lie, it was a scary process moving from a country, a weather, a people, a music, a culture that I understood and I grew up on, my family, my loved ones, my dogs, everything. I'm coming to an environment where I did not know anybody.
Yeah.
I did not. Do you understand? It was crazy. It was scary, but I'm glad I took that leap, because if I hadn't, I don't know where I'd be today. Because we'll just be thinking, oh, more time is not going. Time is flying. I can remember when I came like it was yesterday, and it's been years. So imagine if I had stayed put, procrastinating, saying, you know what, tomorrow is going to be the day, not today. Tomorrow is going to be the day, and just letting fear hold me back. I don't know how I'll be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't figured out everything. Yes, I still have a lot of questions. Yes, I still have some doubts on some days, and I still have some low points. But who doesn't? Even if you are in the comfort of your bed, do you understand?
Yeah.
There would always be reasons why you shouldn't, but there are also 1,000 reasons why you should. So it's very important while growing your career to ask yourself the important questions. Jackpot is not for everybody, so I'm not saying you have to,
Yeah.
but you have to find out and ask yourself, have an introspective conversation with yourself and say, what do I want? Where do I want to be?
Yeah.
Is it me? You don't have to follow the band and say, oh, because everybody's marching to UK, let me to go
Yeah.
and buy. It's not like that. Plus, there are so many countries in the world as well too. If you want to be an immigrant, do your research, find out what you need to do, but don't let common stereotypes hold you back. Don't say, oh, because of my accent. Say, I've been here, my accent has not changed. Do you understand? And I've been able to speak on stages where
I said eloquently.
do you understand?
Yeah.
Eloquently and authentic to myself. As I was talking yesterday, I mentioned my mother's name. I said her name is Omowumi. Then I went ahead to translate it to them so they can understand the meaning.
Yeah.
It's important to tell your stuff and to tell your stories, but remain original and unique. You don't have to come here and in 2 weeks you're already saying you're writing it, me not writing it. You don't have to. So I'd say just two things,
Yeah.
right? Or three things. One, say yes to scary opportunities. Two, don't let anything
Yeah.
hold you back.
Yeah.
So own any space that you enter and you belong. And three, stay original, stay authentic, stay yourself. Those are the three key things that I'd say has helped me in my career. And hopefully will continue to help me as well too. So those are key things that I think people should actually use as well to help them in their careers.
Smashing. You smashed it. And one thing I've come to understand about saying yes is that after you said yes, you must definitely find a way to make that thing work.
That is
And in
it.
the process of finding a way of making that thing work, you've learned
Mm-hmm.
the process of doing that. And you
Exactly.
can easily say yes to that same thing some other time without being scared of how the outcome is going to be. So, so yeah, like I said, smashing. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for sharing. And this is the last question, but this is the fun side of things. Maybe not too fun, maybe not too fun, like a semi-formal kind of thing, but it's the question we're going to be finishing with. So it's this thing I always normally do. Not always. I'm just integrating it or infusing it into my live session when I'll be like, finish this sentence. So this is your question. Finish this sentence. The immigrant experience has taught me to what?
Uh, the immigrant experience has taught me to value the power of relationships. It could
Mm,
be the power of family, the power of your spouse, the power of sisterhood, the power of your siblings. Value those relationships. You might take them for granted, and when they call you, you block them and say, "Someone to this one wants to start asking me for money." See, being an immigrant could be lonely at
yeah.
times, and that's just the truth.
Mhm.
So you need to value the power of friendship. Find a community around you, like Yorubas would say, "In your lasho." That simply means that people are the close you wear. They would bring you up. They will uplift you when you're down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm so grateful and so blessed that I have people in my corner, people that care about me, people who love me despite my trouble, and people I love too despite their trouble too. So yes, I'd say yes, definitely the value of relationships.
Thank you so much. It's I think we've got more people joining in as we're rounding up now, but but yeah, so sorry guys, we really have to go. We've been here for over an hour now because we started at 1 and this is 1 hour 6 minutes. So thank you very much, Hawa. Actually looking forward to meeting you in person. So
Same.
hence, and you still owe me something. So hence the reason I'm coming down to Manchester.
I see you coffee in Manchester. That's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
thank you so much for this time you've dedicated
Thank
to,
you
showing
too.
up on the Immigrant Story and sharing your story, which I have definitely found very insightful. I've taken a lesson from it. And I believe for anyone who's joined and who's going to watch this later on, be it here on Instagram or be it on YouTube, it's going to actually pick us something. And just like she stated earlier, if you're interested in reaching out to Hawa, I'm going to drop her full name on the comment section. Her name is Hawa Yakubu. You can check out our previous posts. You can see her full name there. Search up on her on LinkedIn and reach her. She's not really a fan of Instagram, as you can tell, but yeah, but definitely reach out via LinkedIn. So thank you once again, Hawa. Thank you so much for your time and do enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Keep up the
cheers,
good work. Thanks, Sammy.
no worries at all. Cheers, everyone, and please endeavor to follow, endeavor to subscribe if you haven't. We've got a YouTube channel. Endeavor to share as well, and endeavor to leave a comment. We actually want to hear from you in terms of people you want to see on the platform. We want it to be about you as well, not just me. So we want to hear from you, people you think you're being inspired by, that you think you definitely love to have them on the platform. Do well to share their name, to reach out to us on our DMs, and we'll definitely try as much as possible to bring those people to your way. So thank you very much again, once again, Hawa, and take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Yeah,
Bye,
yeah.
everyone.